What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Limitless Business Owners Podcast. My name is Andrew Giorgi, and I'm here with my co-host of the podcast, Dan Fisher. If this is your first time listening to the podcast, first of all, we want to welcome you. Okay, we're super excited to be on this journey, this business owner journey with you, and help you along the way. Okay, our whole goal with this podcast and really our passion in life is to bring the everyday business owner content and stories they can relate to, and also fresh new perspectives, fresh new mindsets, new thoughts, new ideas, strategies, tactics to help you grow your business. Okay, if you take one thing out of each episode and start implementing it into your life and business today, we promise you're going to start seeing massive growth. Let's hop into the show. Yo, what's up, guys? Back in week 2 of our mini series, the Untold Principles of Marketing Success. Last week, we covered principle number 1, which is always grow your list. So if you haven't listened to that episode yet, please stop listening to this one and go back to that one and listen to it, as this is kind of a follow-up with principle 2. Dan, how's it going in soon-to-be Colorado?
Soon to be. Got a month left, man. It's
Pitt right now.
Yeah, exactly. Still in Pittsburgh, and it's hot, humid. Went to the gym today, and it was a mess. So I'm excited to get to this dry weather. I'm telling you, man, it is so different there. Humidity versus dry heat. It is 70 degrees here. Feels like 90 degrees there. And it was humid in the gym, and I was just, I came home, and Britt was like, shower right now.
I think St. Louis and Pitt are very similar. Like, it's hot and humid here too.
Yeah. It is very, I'm sorry. It gets crazy winters. Like, you guys get crazy intense numbers, heat wise, cold wise. So it's like,
it's crazy. It's crazy.
It is.
Awesome. Let's hop in here to principle number 2. Like I said, principle number 1 is always grow your list. Very, very important to always be growing your list some way, turning that borrowed media into own media. But principle number 2, and when I'm thinking about these things, I'm like, man, this one's more important than the other one. But it's like, wait, no, they actually work together. Just kind of like your life principles. Your life principles should work together to create the life that you want. These are principles that create marketing success. And principle number 2 is give, and then ask. Okay. And you might be wondering, what does that mean in marketing and advertising? What is give, then ask? And you've probably heard it, and we're kind of going to break it down. Giving means giving some sort of value. And I know that's super cliche. I mean, Dan and I were just talking about this. We're going to break that down a little bit for you, because I think a lot of people don't know what give value actually means. But to influence, to persuade, to get people to take your desired action, which is what marketing and advertising is, right? Is to take them towards an action that you want to take and influence and persuade them. You have to give something first. And a lot of people, they get it wrong. They want to ask, because we're so desperate and focused for the sale that we ask first. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't put the prospect in the best, or potential customer in the best position to buy right now. You are actually losing influence by not give, then ask. So Dan, I know the last episode we talked about what you're doing right now with Royal, how you're reactivating your list. Mm-hmm. And I would imagine part of that is you double down on giving them information.
Yeah.
I know I'm part of your email list.
That's true.
And I get emails with information and education inside of it.
Yeah. It's something you always want to be top of mind with your clients, with your prospects. And, look at every single big box corporation. They're probably in your inbox right now because they email you 3 times a day. If not, could be more. I mean, I see some of these stores doing, once an hour almost. And that's because they know that people are looking at emails. They know that what happens is when you see an email, you get that education. It's going to keep you connected. It may take 100 emails for you to see it, but you're going to go right back into being reactivated So maybe something wasn't as value until you hit that 100th email. Next thing you know, you're clicking it, you're hitting add to cart, and you're hitting buy now.
Yeah, it's funny. When you were saying that, I got on Donald Trump's email list, and I get probably 10 to 14 emails a day.
Sticking with his reputation, right?
Right. It's kind of crazy, but you know what? I don't forget about Donald Trump though.
And you haven't unsubscribed yet, right?
No, I haven't.
Right.
I ignore them, most of them,
Exactly.
But yeah, so, and I think some people are like, well, I don't even know what to talk. I don't even know what to send people. And this is like, I want you to think higher up. This should be honestly not just a marketing and advertising principle. This should be a life principle. This is a mindset change and a perspective and a principle that you need to adopt in your life too.
Yeah.
I'm going to give, and then ask. And it's part of becoming selfless, right? Mm-hmm. Where it's like, we're going to give first. How do I provide something? How do I be resourceful? There's tons of ways to give value, right? You can be the guy that's resourceful, that people just, you are able to find information out, right? We probably have that one friend that you're like, hey, I'm going to text him and because he knows how to get a good deal here or there. That person's resourceful. That's valuable. Maybe that same friend is an encourager, right? That's valuable too, right? Maybe you need information about something. Value comes in a lot of different shapes, right? Mm-hmm. And Dan, I know you probably see that even when you're posting on social media, right? One day might be a motivational post that encourages people. That's valuable. You might have made someone's day. If you made them smile, like you gave them value, you produced a good emotion for them, right? That's valuable.
I think a lot of things get in the way of people putting themselves out there, giving value. One is definitely what you just said, is they don't have enough or good enough value for people. But what I need you to understand as the listener is that you are a role model, right? Okay, so let's cross off like imposter syndrome for right now. Let's say right now I am a role model, and then you're like, I don't know who is actually looking up to me, but just know you are. So if you know you're a role model, you can actually start living your life a little bit differently, and you can actually give value. If you're going to be giving value a lot more because you're like, oh, this person might be able to use this. Next thing you know, a year later, they might come up to you and say, hey, I've been using your posts for my daily motivation, or I've been, I had that one thing that you said a year ago really motivating me. And those things happen whenever you kind of change your mindset into thinking like, I am a role model. I had it easy. I had younger brothers, and I was like, I am a role model for my younger brothers. That was easy. Yeah. But if you don't have that, and maybe you're a younger sibling, like just know you're a role model even for your older siblings, mm-hmm. Or just people around you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I get that, most business owners were busy doing what you do every day, so you're like, I don't have time to send things out. Right. I don't have time to give because I'm my fulfillment and my time is taken up, there's probably a few small changes that you can make to start giving on a daily basis that will take less than maybe 15 minutes of your day. And when you start thinking of like that, like, wait, I'm 15 minutes a day, and I can start influencing people in a positive way and start giving every single day, you can start making a even bigger impact. And I think that's what we start looking at monetary things, right? We start looking at, well, where's the payoff for it? And Dan outlined it. It might be 100 emails from now, mm-hmm. right? It might be 4 months from now. So no, it's not instant, but there's still payoff for it. You're just not seeing the ROI right this second for it. But you might be making a bigger impact on their life that doesn't result in monetary gain for you, but you still did something good, which is valuable, right? You posted, something, some information, an insider tip, an insider trick, right? You posted, hey, the story that you went through, and it you showed that you had a mindset change. Now people can see that mindset change that helped you, and they could adopt that same thing. Now they're living their life differently.
Yep.
Right. It could just be like, hey, hope you have a freaking good day today. And that might be valuable to one person that honestly, they read that and like, I'm going to have a good day today.
Right.
And that sounds dumb and minimal, but it's not.
I have a funny story that's kind of similar to that. And it's strange, but so, I had I was back in college, or maybe junior year or something like that, college, and it just wasn't having a good year. And school wasn't necessarily the best thing for me, so I was always looking for different venues. Actually applied to be in the Air Force around that time, got denied because of my asthma, and so just had a bad year in school, got denied for Air Force, which was a blessing for sure. But as I was driving down this road, which I've driven down day after day, I saw this guy in a wheelchair holding up a sign. Something I thought was just a typical homeless person, right? But no, it was actually it was a guy in a wheelchair holding up a sign. And once I got closer, I was able to read that the sign said smile. That's all it said. Right. So it was just a guy out there giving a little bit of value, and all his sign said was smile. And I'm like, all right, I guess I could feel better about this. I kind of do. I'll smile a little bit just from that one guy, going out on a street corner, holding up a sign. It was pretty cool. He wasn't asking for money. He was just holding up a sign.
Wow. And that's, that's something we have to think about. That's a reminder of a small thing. You might be like, hey, I can't post about basic stuff. Yeah, you can.
Right.
Sometimes the basics are the best because people need reminders. Life hits us sometimes. People get in a rut and they need to hear the basics. Oh, wow. And guess what? They remember who posted that, when they see something from you the next day, right?
Yes,
and it kind of snowballs. You don't get a huge avalanche on day one, right? It takes a while.
You won't get it on day 365 either.
That's reality.
It is. And that's one expectation that I would like to set with you guys is when you are doing this, like you almost have to expect no thank you whatsoever. And
upfront.
Yeah. Like it'll happen. Like Andrew said, down the line, and it might not be that year, but you're going to get lots of thank yous way down the road. So don't worry about that. If you can go in with it expecting like you're not probably going to get some gratitude out of this, then you're going to be a lot better off, because it could be a little bit of a block if you get it, and then next thing you know, you're like feeling a little exhausted because you didn't get that thank you or a payment or something like that.
Well, you have to have the correct expectations going into it, and you have to understand that the game is, and this is why not too many people actually make it. We see those people that get big on social media, so on and so forth. Those people, if you go back and you start like just going through their timeline and scrolling, like you're like, holy crap, these people were just mega consistent. Like, let's look way back when they got like 2 likes, and I think society, we're so used to getting that dopamine hit. Whenever we get the likes. So whenever we don't get it after 7, 8, 9, 10 days of posting, it's the same reason why people don't stay with working out, because they don't see that result as soon as they want to, because everything else is instant for us, and then they quit or they pause. We're all guilty of it. I'm guilty of it, so it's like going into it with the correct expectations. Like, no, this is going to take a while, and you got to commit to that while. Yeah. Right. And it's tough. It really is easier said than done. For sure.
I remember when I was when I was working for ADP, you guys might have heard this guy's name, but Drewby. So I reached out to Drewby when he was just starting to get pretty big at Apex, and Drewby Wilson. And I was like, how can I get to the point where you're, how can I get to selling for Apex or I forget what I asked him exactly, but he said, go into groups and just start posting value. Now at the time I had no idea what that meant. I was like, okay, I'm going to go post value. But at that time I was still learning the marketing industry. So like, I really didn't know what to even post. But I did see he was leading by example. He was going in and posting. Maybe someone had a question, he would post an answer. He's going in and posting just random posts and then helping people that would go on there. So he was getting all these people, and people were getting to know his name. Next thing you know, he's a $1 million. I think he's a CEO of Apex now, or VP, something like that. Yeah. And killing it. He started by building value, and that was 2017 or 18.
Well, the give typically has to surpass the ask at some point. So it's like you look at that result that he is at now, but how much did he have to give to get there? And it was a lot of his time. It was a lot of his mental energy. It was a lot of mental capacity. It was what he knew, and kind of in an unbashful way.
Yep.
You can't be bashful. You can't be like, well, I don't know if I don't, maybe this isn't the right thing to say. No, bet on yourself and go for it. You know, because if you help someone, they're going to remember that. But that accumulates over time, and then you end up, so if you want the big result, it's like, you got to start, that's going to take 1 million small gives.
Yep.
More, but you got to think it's this crazy number. It's going to take years. And if you're not okay with that, then you're not going to get the result that you want later on.
And you become an authority in giving, and an authority in your space if you're giving value in that space. So it's really positioning you for success.
And this isn't just like, I've obviously from my business, but this can be in your family. This could be with your friends. It's like, if you're wondering, man, why aren't like my friends reciprocating? Well, maybe you're not giving enough. Why is my family? Why are they not reciprocating? And I know there's other dynamics, but it's like, what can you give? Like, let's change the question of what can I get to what can I give? And that's how you have to live. But in business, I mean, there's a time to ask, right?
There
really is, but you can't ask before you start giving. And so Dan, I have a few pragmatic ways people can give, right? And we see it. What about free resources and tools? So if you start thinking about your space where you're at, what are some free resources and tools that you can dish out to help your potential customer, your prospect, to help their decision, right? Maybe some things that they're not thinking about. Maybe there are some things to think about in this buying process, right? What free resource? You spend an hour creating it and you give it out to a bunch of people, right? You have it downloadable on your website.
Yeah, things like checklists. I mean, there's something called PLR. And for a lot of people like me, I hated doing content, hated doing anything that involved a lot of writing. But there's something called PLR, right? And that's something that you could go and buy content that's already been done, and you pick your industry, you pick your type of content that you want. It could be a PowerPoint, it could be an article, it could be a checklist. They have them there for downloading, so you don't have to recreate the wheel. Go find these things. They're like $1, and then you can go and recreate them and brand them for yourself.
Yep, it's information. Dan showed me it, and I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah. I never heard of it until this year. I downloaded like 300 things.
Yeah. It's so free resources, tools. Okay. What about a weekly newsletter, right? They sign up to be on a weekly newsletter that they get every week. And like I get Andy for Sales, and sometimes it's short. Sometimes it's like 5 sentences, but I'm like, man, that was valuable.
Yep.
You don't have to be this grand thing to be valuable. It's just small. Honestly, it's small little bites for people, right? Your daily posts. I know Dan and I were just talking about that, but your daily posts, those matter too, right? You can definitely help people out with your daily posts. So a couple ideas there to, how you're like, might be thinking, how do I pragmatically do this? Well, those things, might take up about 2 hours of your week, if that, if you start doing those things. Right.
Yeah.
And this kind of goes hand in hand with last week's building your list. When you want to start building your list, start giving value.
Yep. Stop
putting, I have a sale, buy now today on your Facebook every single day. It's not valuable. Not valuable.
Yep.
At all.
Yeah, I mean, they say what, 90% 10 or 80% 20, something like that. So 80% giving value, 20% asking for the sale.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the math actually works out, but I've seen a lot more successful people have like pretty much probably 90-10. It's probably what it is.
It
And,
really is.
and yeah, I think a lot of people will, if you're struggling with like getting started with the daily post, there's two things. I know a lot of people have like a calendar that I've seen, but there's two ways I can see you getting started easily. And one is think of a lesson that you've learned, because that could probably relate to anything, any lesson, doesn't matter what it is. And then the second thing is just think of something that someone laughed at you at that you'd like to put out there.
Yeah.
Because people will eat that up. You'll get a lot of engagement, and then that can just fuel you for the next couple posts.
I know like Stuman and a couple of those guys, they use this thing called the E3 method.
Mm-hmm.
And it's extract, have an experience,
Yep.
extract a lesson, and educate, entertain based off that legend,
Right.
that lesson. So, what happened yesterday, because there's something you can look at yesterday where you can extract a lesson out of it and then educate or entertain based on that lesson. Right. I kind of think of E3 as 3 different things to do, right? If you're like, what do I provide people? What you can educate, right? You can entertain, right? People love stories. Do not, and we had one with Kevin Lavelle, about the power of stories, right? And like that provides entertainment for people when you're telling a story.
Yep.
Right. And then how can you help them evolve, right? I don't just think about educate, right? Telling people what they need to know, or entertaining, but I'm like, how can I help them evolve? And that can all be wrapped up into a story, right? And I think about proximity and friction when I'm giving, okay? And there's different levels, right? Someone that you have to think about their awareness with you, okay? Like, do they know who you are already? If not, then what I'm going to give them is going to be different than someone that already knows me. I'm always, and this is the buying process, I'm always trying to bring them more proximate to me.
Right.
Right. So I'm always trying to lead to like a 1v1 conversation. Right. But a stranger, it's really hard for them to get to take this 1v1 conversation. They don't know me.
Yep.
Right. So the friction, I have to make the friction extremely small or less.
Yeah.
Right. So that's something quick, a free guide, free tools, free resource, something quick they can digest. And I build that value with them through that. And then now I'm going to try to get them to commit to something a little bit more friction. Can I get them to hop on a free training video call, a group call? Can I get them to watch a mini series? Can I get, so you can see how I'm moving, and you can see there's more commitment for the prospect or the potential customer.
Yep.
Right. And there's always more friction as we move through the buying process, but they're also getting more proximate to me in the buying process. So think about that when you're giving, right? So like when I think about my Facebook, that's my wide audience. I'm giving quick things that are easy to digest. I'm not making them watch a 30-minute video.
Yeah. I've a random thought came into my head when it was kind of an analogy with what you're talking about. And maybe this is showing my age a little bit, but there was a show called the Pickup Artists for MTV. And what it was is this guy teaching like a whole bunch of loser guys on how to pick up a girl, right? And the way it was very similar to what you just talked about. And I think it would be funny if people know that show. But he was basically saying like, hey, I'm going to have you go talk to a random stranger on the boardwalk, and I'm going to, we'll see how far you can get to a date kind of thing. And really, It's the same kind of way. Like you got to minimize, like you have a stranger, you got to minimize the friction. So, these people were walking up to girls. So he was like, no, you got to walk with them. So there's less friction. There's a little bit more. And then you got to provide value, whether that's you're attractive or there's some sort of connection. Like that's the value. So my mind went that direction. That's I had to give a laugh. I'm like, that's it's very similar, right?
But they're strategic. I mean, these are, obviously we're saying, hey, first you have to adopt this giving lifestyle, right? In everything that you do. Make sure you have vehicles and modes to give, Right. But then the next layer deep is, how do I be strategic with my giving?
Yeah.
And this is in a business sense, right? But you can't force it. This is more in a business sense of like, now that you've adopted this lifestyle of giving, you need to be more strategic with your gives to help the stranger become a paying client or customer
or date,
right? Or date, right? Or date. But and that's a manipulation. Using it, it's more, I would say, influence tactic for getting people to move along.
Mm-hmm.
If you go into it thinking like, oh, I need to give so I can get, that's the wrong mentality.
Right.
That is, you need to give just to give. And of course you want the sale, but don't start using that in your friendships with your family. Like, oh, I'm going to fake give, just because I need something tomorrow. That's I hate saying it. If you're doing that, you're a scumbag.
Yeah. I see it a lot, so I can see it firsthand, and I'll tell it from the professional aspect of it. So, the leads that we generate go to financial advisors. Financial advisors are then supposed to go into a meeting where it's like a discovery phase. So we've reduced the friction. We've gotten them in a meeting, right? Now it's their turn to take over, and they still have to reduce friction. They still have to build trust.
Yeah,
I have people that go in and they go, how much investable assets do you have right off the bat?
Right.
And then they'll call me and they'll say, you gave me a terrible lead. This person wasn't interested. Guess what? We take that lead and we do a quick survey, or we turn them around, and we actually have advisors in the same area that want another, or the prospect says they want to go to another advisor. That's fine. So what I notice is the people that work are the people that go and do a great discovery phase. So they're going through everything, and their mission is not to sell. Their mission is to help. They're going through everything in their budgets. They're going everything in their assets, and they're finding out all the information that guy asked first. They're finding it out with much more detail. And now that the customer sees it, they trust them. So while that first guy lost a sale, the second advisor went and closed them.
And that's actually interesting, because in an old job I worked, we changed the title of our salespeople. Like, they used to be just equipment salesmen. Mm-hmm. We changed the title to equipment specialist, because now it's a teaching, now it's a help. And now the goal isn't to sell.
Right.
Obviously, yeah, we need them to sell, but it was a culture and a mindset shift of, we need them to educate. Yep. You're a specialist. You're going to educate.
Yep.
So awesome, guys. So principle number 1, always grow your list. Principle number 2, give, then ask. It's a lifestyle change. It's a mentality change, and it will change your life and your business. Takes the eyes off of you and puts it on to those around you, and how you can help them. Okay. Dan, any parting wisdom?
I like to see when people give value, because it's really just, you don't know how many people actually benefit from it. Even if you think it's industry specific, your friends and family might view it a different way. And like we said, it could be every 100th email, but in between that could be 40 people that have taken a different message. So it could be 50 people in those email lists that are catching it. And next thing you know, that's where your list is going to start building up. So you're just giving that value over and over again. You might get me once, but you might get 40 other people as well.
That's so true. That's so good. Awesome, guys. Well, until next week, our schedule's changing up a little bit. We probably should have prefaced the episode with this, but we were releasing episodes every Thursday, right? And we have 2 different kinds of episodes. We have, Dan and Andrew's bites, I would say, our thoughts.
Yep.
And then we have guests, right? So whenever we don't have a guest, we're actually going to be dropping 2 episodes in a week, and they're going to release Tuesday and Friday. When we do have a guest, we will be releasing 1 a week, because those just take a little bit longer to produce the episode. But we're like, we want a little bit more bite-sized chunks, and twice a week when it's just Dan and I. Instead of having one long episode, we're going to have 2 shorter episodes for you with quicker lessons to help you guys. Look, we know your time is precious.
Yes.
Right. So we want to make sure we respect that, but also help you the best way that we can. So Tuesday and Fridays. And then if it's just a guest, it'll just be Fridays. Okay. So,
love it.
Awesome, guys. It's been real.
See you guys.
Hey, if you haven't rated or reviewed the show yet, please take 2 to 3 minutes to do so right now on whatever platform you listen on. It really helps the show rank better when people are searching for new podcasts to listen to. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook, where we post daily clips from the episode. And then we're just going to ask you to share those clips, right? You never know who of your friends are going to see that clip, and then they're going to start listening to the episode, and then their life changes because they hear something that really helps them overcome a challenge that they're experiencing in their business. It's really going to help them create breakthrough in their business and become limitless. Also, one last thing. Right now, we are offering a free 7-day trial into our Inner Circle group, Limitless Business Owners Inner Circle. And inside this elite group, you get to learn how you can experience immense, consistent growth inside your business, where you learn the strategies and tactics to grow your business, right? Surround yourself with like-minded people, other business owners that are experiencing what you're experiencing, that are going through it right now, that you can build key relationships with and learn from. And also some people ahead of you that can also teach you something that's going to help you overcome something in your business right now. And then last thing, you can leverage the strategies and tactics it takes to build your dreams and fulfill your purpose. Talk soon.